Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. My name is Chris Green. I am the Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. I'm your host for On Deck with Avoya. Thank you so much for tuning in and engaging with our program. We've got a great show lined up for you today. And as we're taping this in advance, we're not live like normal. We're going to be skipping our eye on the industry segment and heading right to the heart of the matter, our great question and answer segment here in just a second. This week, we've invited back our old friend Nick Renoux for an Avoya Insider segment. But Nick joins us with a fairly recent new title, Director of Content. We're excited to hear how that role impacts those in the Avoya network, and we'll do that, like I said, here in just a second. We're also going to touch base on promotions, our red-hot travel agent education powered by Avoya platform, the best-in-class resources that Avoya Network has exclusive access to, and of course, make sure that we give you multiple ways to reach out and get that process started so you too can join the Avoya Network and be part of the #1 host agency in leisure travel. So let's kick it off. This week's On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. Avoya Travel, let me tell you, I'm really proud to be able to brag about my coworkers that I work with because we're very fortunate to have this amazingly deep pool of talent that directly works for Avoya Travel. And guess what? None of the employees for Avoya Travel sell travel to the public. So each of them in some way serves as a support component for the Avoya network. And these amazing coworkers of mine are just a major force behind the fact that Avoya Travel is consistently named the #1 host agency in the industry. So with that said, I'm very excited to welcome back Nicholas Renoux, Director of Content for Avoya Travel, for an exclusive Avoya Insider segment. Nick, welcome back to On Deck with Avoya, my friend.
Thanks very much, Chris. I'm really excited to be back. And also, congratulations to you guys on just all the work you've done with On Deck with Avoya and building this incredible web series. And I know earlier this year had the 100th episode. So very cool to see this grow and the incredible work that you're doing here. So I'm really excited to be back.
We appreciate that very much. Thanks so much. And it's because of people like you that we consistently have another great story to tell. And before we jump into our interview today, Nick, can you kind of fill in our guests a little bit about your personal history in the industry and how you ended up at your current spot as the Director of Content for Avoya?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been at Avoya for a little over 9.5 years now, actually. Started when I was 25 years old in the promotions department as a promotions assistant, which is, I think, where a lot of people kind of knew me for my role for the years. So I was in the promotions department for about 9 years. So I was working on, terms and conditions, things of free beverage packages, buy one, get one free cruise fares, and just, really grew in my role there in that department. And because of the unique nature of that department and being, one of the only in-house promotions teams in the industry, I really got to learn a lot about the way that our platform works and the way that the travel industry works, and started to get to take on a lot of great new projects. But my background wasn't really in technical writing. It really is more in creative writing. And as I took on more and more projects over the years, it started to realize that a lot of the stuff I'm working on is content. I'm working on different parts of the website. I'm working on public relations, these various aspects that, my promotions team kind of outgrew me a little bit. We grew a really strong team, and they didn't really need me anymore. And I wasn't working on promotions projects that much anyway. And meanwhile, Avoya was kind of noticing there was a lot of these various, content projects, and content's a very kind of vague, sort of broad word, that, historically weren't owned by different departments, or they passed hands. And so trying to get some processes and standard operating procedures in place, which is what I really excelled at when I was in the promotions world, made a lot of sense to bring continuity to these different parts and to really unify our brand voice across the Avoya platform. And so the content department was actually created in January of this year, and I was tapped on to be the Director of Content to really help build this from the ground up, to start looking at all aspects of the business, again, to unify that brand voice across our website and our public relations, and also starting to kind of transition a little bit of social media underneath the content department umbrella as well. So that's kind of where I started and kind of how I ended up where I'm at now.
Yeah, congratulations on that well-deserved promotion. And as you were saying, the overall purpose of the Avoya content department, as the Director of Content, kind of walk me through what a typical day is like for you, Nick, and what are some of the ways that you would say that work has a direct impact on our affiliates that make up the Avoya network?
Yeah, sure. And my day to day is a little all over the place right now because I am very much building this from scratch. I'm working on kind of hiring to bulk out some of my team as well, which has been very exciting. And so, a lot of it is high level strategizing of what is kind of our content strategy, what is our brand voice, and how do we make sure that we're consistent across across the platform and the different channels. But also it's reviewing the work of my team and making sure as they're updating these various pages on the website, that it is up to our standard, that it is up to our brand voice. A lot of aspect of working on the public relations side, interacting with media, building relationships with journalists there as well, whether that's if they want to have an interview with an independent agency, going and figure out who is the right independent agency for this specific interview, if they want to talk to an executive, for example, as well. And then working on some other things to kind of help assist the independent agencies as well, as far as I think some stuff that we might talk about with helping them get some additional leads in and things like that. So a lot of what we're really trying to do is help Avoya become even more of a kind of a well-known brand name, to go out there and really tell our brand story and get people to understand, whether again it's through our website or through social media, who we are, what our value proposition is, how the Avoya platform works, and how it benefits whether it's suppliers, independent agencies who want to affiliate with Avoya, or even travelers themselves who are looking to get the vacation planning services. So it's really about making sure that we're putting really strong content out there, because a lot of what the service that we offer is that we're doing that work for you, right? We're of course a marketing company, but we are also a content company. We have a beautiful website with a lot of great information where travelers can go and do research and get themselves inspired and figure out what type of vacation they want, so that then when they are being passed along to an independent agency as a live lead, they're a little bit more of an educated client, right? They kind of know what they want. They understand the product. And that just makes the independent agency's job that much easier to close that sale, when they actually know what the client wants and they're not having to spend all of their time explaining what a river cruise is. Instead, they get to figure out what's the best river cruise brand for you, because you've already done the research on our website to know that you want to go on a river cruise.
I'm guessing you're blowing some minds out there right now, Nick, because there's got to be people that are with some other hosts, and I'm not going to name drop them or anything like that, but where they've got the number of affiliates in the thousands and thousands, and yet the number of employees working directly there are in the teens in some cases, and they're like, I've never heard of a director of content where I am. So just the fact that you're able to have this conversation with me, I really think it just another way that just differentiates Avoya from all of our competitors. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really focus on the support and services that we offer as a host agency, right? As part of our platform models, we try to do as much of the work as possible for the Avoya network so that they can focus on what they do best, which is selling, right? And there are a lot of competitors out there that might really rely on those agents to do a lot of their own marketing, to do a lot of their own content creation. And it's really important for Avoya that we're taking that heavy lifting out of their hands and doing that work for them so they can really focus on what they do best.
Now, I know that one of the projects that you've been working on involves our new relationship with the Travel Leaders Network, and specifically the agent profiler portion. Is there any exciting updates, or maybe a little preview or a little sneak peek or anything like that that you can share with us about that project today?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And that was something I just touched on just a moment ago too, is some of the leads that the content team is helping to create. So for those who don't know, Travel Leaders Network Agent Profiler is a system where it's kind of like a directory, almost like an online yellow pages of travel advisors that you can search in your area or by specialty. And there's also something called super agent status within the agent profiler program as well, that kind of helps you get higher up in the listings when people are searching. And so one of the things that we're really leveraging with this relationship with Travel Leaders Network is helping out some independent agencies with getting their agent profiler profiles set up. So when someone goes and says, hey, this is the agent I want to work with, that lead gets offered directly to that person. And so one of the great things about it is because you've been searched for and found, those leads close at a significantly higher rate than the average lead. And so we're really looking to get as many of our agencies in that system and set up on super agent status as possible, because that's just a win-win for everybody. Of course, Avoya, it's a shared success model. So the better the independent agencies do, the better Avoya does. And if we can help find this new channel for getting leads in, then it's a really great opportunity. And knowing that those leads close at such a higher rate is incredible. So right now, what we're really doing is focusing on our top producers. And we're going to get as many of them up to that super agent status as possible. And then we're going to kind of look to see what that looks like kind of in the future of if this is a service of the way, depending on how we'll kind of offer it to the rest of the network. Because it is quite a bit of work to get that profile set up. But I've got a great team of writers and editors here that are really going to kind of, again, help take that heavy lifting away and just make it so you can tell your story and then just close the sale.
Nice 1-2 combination. Nick, you kind of touched on this a second ago, but you've been around, you've done a lot of work with many that percolate up and would be what we would call our top producers, our great affiliates in the Avoya network for years now. Nick, are there some traits that you notice that some of these great affiliates have time and time again that you could share with our audience today, maybe help somebody have that light bulb moment?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a few things that I think that I see the most successful agents and agencies do. And one of the first ones, and something that Avoya always preaches, is to specialize. Those who really learn the product that they're selling. These specialists, I've heard of people who, they know the color of the carpet in the cabins, you know what I mean? And that kind of knowledge goes so far with a traveler. And of course, if you specialize in something, someone comes in and they want a Carnival cruise, of course, you can sell them the Carnival cruise. But at the same time, if you know the ins and outs of a brand that you love to sell, that you've been on, you've traveled on that brand, and really keep it to, 2, 3, 4 specialties that you really know like the back of your hand, that's one of the ways that I see independent agencies being absolutely the most successful. Sometimes people get excited like a kid in a candy store of how many partners we work with, and they want to try and sell all of them. And that typically makes you just not as knowledgeable about the products that you're trying to sell. So that's the first one I would say, is to specialize. And then I think the other thing that I've seen from those agencies that are, especially as you grow that volume to be a top producer, efficiencies. Finding efficiencies in your day-to-day. I've seen people work who are maybe not as efficient. There's a lot of things like, are you writing out your emails every time, or do you have scripts that you use? Every time you're prospecting clients, or every time that you're sending quotes, are you typing something new every time? Because that's minutes to hours that you could be saving every single day, that you could be dedicating to more things like taking an extra client, right? And there's ways to do those efficiencies, to find what your pain points are in your day-to-day, and figure out a way to be more efficient, to cut some time out there, to trim some of the fat on what you're doing. And also, I think in this day and age too, one thing that really dovetails nicely off of that is, are you using technology? Are you looking into generative AI? You should be using scripts. You don't even need to write those scripts yourself, right? Maybe you want to start branching out into social media. You want to do a social media campaign. Have ChatGPT write an entire social media campaign for you. Tell them what you want to do. Write all the posts for you. You now have a week-long worth of social media posts that took you 5 minutes to put together, that would have normally taken someone weeks to ideate that, to brainstorm it, and to actually execute it, right? So use the technology and the tools that are at your disposal. And that's one of the great things about Avoya, is that we are also a technology company, and we're constantly developing in-house technology. Thanks to the investment from Certaris in late 2021, we're also starting to invest in new third-party partnerships and relationships so that we can leverage their technology and tools. So we're always looking to find efficiencies even in our headquarter day-to-day, right? At the Innovation Center, what are ways that I can save time on my day so I can focus more on helping independent agencies and helping grow the business? And I encourage independent agencies to do the same. And those who are finding those ways to save time every day, that's more business that you can take on.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly well said. And I told everybody just how smart the people I work with are, right? And when you hear Nick talk about all these new advancements going on with artificial intelligence and how that can make you more efficient and save you time and make you more money. I mean, again, boom, I know those light bulb moments are happening out there. Nicholas Renoux is the director of content for Avoya Travel. He's our featured Avoya Insider guest today for On Deck with Avoya. Nick, I know award season's just around the corner, and I know that's something that you're involved with. And I don't mean to like brag or just assume or whatever, but normally when award season happens, Avoya's trophy case has to get a little bigger. I mean, maybe that could happen again this year?
I certainly hope that's the case. We are working on submitting for some awards right now. And I definitely think we have some really good good topics that we're submitting for. So I'm really excited about that. Working with people right now on what kind of things we can kind of submit to showcase the incredible technology and innovations that we have. So, over the course of the years that I've been working on public relations, I've seen us pull in upwards of 15, 20 awards over the course of the last, few years. So definitely hoping to contribute to increasing the size of that trophy case this year. So stay tuned a little bit later in the year when some of those announcements start coming out.
Yeah, we'll certainly make sure we update on everybody once that starts to happen. What about you on a personal front, Nick? We all know that travel benefits can be one of the great perks of working in the industry. Anything exciting that's recently happened, or anything exciting that you've got coming up down the pipe?
Yeah, sure. So I don't have it officially booked yet, but I'm hoping later this year in December that I will be going on my honeymoon trip. So I'm getting married in November and hoping to do the honeymoon maybe at an all-inclusive resort somewhere in the Caribbean is kind of the goal right now. So very much looking forward to that.
Well, congratulations to you on that as well. Big year for you, my friend.
Yes, indeed. Big year.
Before I hit you with the big final question, any last thoughts that you'd want to share, or maybe bits of advice that over your 9.5 years with Avoya, you've kind of put together that makes Avoya Travel such a strong company and such an industry leader?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, my position of being, in control of a lot of the public relations, a lot of our major projects and initiatives get announced they come across my desk, so I really get to see a lot of the big moves and things that we're doing. And I think just the thing that really sets us apart so much is our technology and our dedication to making the lives of the independent agencies, the Avoya network, easier, right? Every way that we can to help save time to, everything from, we're not doing cold calling of leads. We're not buying leads lists. We're generating our own leads. We have that patented live leads distribution system so that when you're talking to a customer, they want to travel, right? You know that you're dealing with a customer who wants to travel. That makes your life as a travel agent so much easier because all you have to do is what you do best and sell, right? We have proprietary technology for our customer relationship management, our CRM system, Agent Power, that's very tech heavy, but it's very easy to use. It's very simple interface, right? Again, I mentioned we're leveraging different third-party partnerships and technology. We're always looking to find efficiencies and use technology. As our co-CEO Jeff likes to say, you want to take the robot out of the human, right? And the more that you can automate things that a person doesn't need to be doing, that's more time that you can spend brain power and put your innovative thinking into making the life of the Avoya network easier so they can focus on what they do best, and that's selling.
And it really, there's a couple of points that you made through our interview that I just really want to highlight really quick. One, you talked about the power of specialization. This month I've been watching some of the Wimbledon tennis, and a word that you hear the announcers talk about time and time again is so-and-so is a grass specialist, or so-and-so is a hardcore specialist, or a clay specialist. And it really falls into the same line in that so-and-so is a river cruise expert, so-and-so is an all-inclusive expert, so-and-so is this. And when you take the time to specialize. And the second thing that Nick said that I think is really important to highlight is the idea of engagement. You have to be engaged not only with your business, but with the partner that you have so that you can take advantages of the things that they bring to the table that really do make your life a whole lot easier, And I think you really did a great job in our discussion so far today, Nick, of really highlighting both of those things. All right. Go ahead, bud.
Oh, I was just saying, it's great insights. I think those are two really important key takeaways. And there's so many resources that Avoya offers that not everybody is taking advantage of. And to go back to your question earlier too, of those successful independent agencies that we see, they're the ones that take advantage of the partnership that they have with Avoya and the partnership that we have with Travel Leaders Network as well. Absolutely.
So we asked you this the first time we had you on the show. I'm going to ask you again. I ask everybody the big final question. All your experience, everything everybody you're talking to, is there any reason why you wouldn't be excited for the future of leisure travel right now?
No, it is such an exciting time seeing the growth, seeing the records that are being broken. I think, one of the silver linings we can really take coming out of the pandemic is how much everyone values their lives and traveling and experiences now more than ever. I think a lot of people always kind of had that mindset, but maybe didn't really get off the couch and go do it. And I think, we're seeing just this major boom right now that they're no longer even calling revenge travel. And now it's just a way of life. It's what people want to do. People lost 2 or 3 years of time and they really want to go capitalize. They want to get out there and see the world. And that's not going anywhere. And as we continue to see, millennials and Gen Z start to have more spending power, that's really what defines those generations. Is they are not things generations, they are experience generations. And so they're going to be buying more and more vacations. I don't see this going away. Are we going to see this insane ramp up that we've seen, forever? Is that sustainable? Potentially not, but I think we're going to continue to see more buying power coming into the market that wants to spend that on experiences and on great trips around the world, not just doing national parks or little trips to Mexico, but really getting out there and seeing parts of the world they've never seen before. So I think it's a really exciting time for travel, and for myself, I'm excited to get out there and get back some of that time that I lost as well.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say after everything we've been through, you realize that the delivery truck, the delivery person can deliver everything under the sun except for the experience that you have to get out of the house and just handle on your own. So really well said. Nicholas Renoux, everyone, Director of Content for Avoya Travel. Nick, we really appreciate your time for joining us. We thank you for being our guest today on Deck with Avoya.
Great. Thanks so much. It was absolutely my pleasure. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We are going to be back next week, and we're so excited that we have a Meet the Network segment next week here at Avoya Travel when Jenny Shrimsher, owner of Voyages by Jenny, an independent agency in the Avoya Network, joins us. Find out how Jenny's been able to travel the world and still make an amazing profit with the help of Avoya's innovative resources and technology. Can't wait to interview Jenny next week when she joins us next Thursday here at On Deck with Avoya. Let's talk promotions really quick. We're very proud of our ongoing promotion with the military community for veterans, those that are active, those that are retired, and their spouses, taking $100 off the affiliation fee. There's a lot of information available at avoyanetwork.com. And of course, my team, more than happy to fill you in on all the details and help make sure that you're qualified for that unique promotion. And speaking of one that we're really proud of right now is just the continued success of travel agent education powered by Avoya. The dynamic changes that Gina Hoyt and her team put forth a couple of weeks ago last month are really just paying dividends. I'll tell you the one thing that we are hearing time and time again, people love the audio versions of the information that's being shared as they come home from their commute, as they're excited to transition from their regular 9 to 5 into their dream of building this agency. They're able to get that education by listening to it, by reinforcing what they've read. The scores that we're seeing on the final test are going through the roof. They're just excited to come into the network. And guess what? They're selling quicker, they're making fewer customer service agents, and they're building that potential commission pipeline even fuller and faster than ever before. So make sure, again, you reach out to Avoya Travel about travel agent education powered by Avoya, because it dovetails from the education right into the best-in-class resources that are offered. And as the headline says right there, find your professional freedom. You really can work anywhere as you travel anywhere. Our agent power comes with you because it's internet-based. Live leads, they come with you because it's part of agent power. All the marketing assets right there at a click of a button. Dedicated support, the same thing. So why wouldn't you want to be part of the #1 host agency in leisure travel? And that's Avoya Travel. So again, Avoya Network is the best place to get that information. We would love if you took a few minutes and you gave us a like or a follow, made the bell ring, all of that subscription stuff happen at our social media channels. You can follow along and you'll never miss a beat with what's going on at the Avoya Travel Network. That's at Avoya Travel Network on social media, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Again, don't miss a beat. Follow us. Or just pick up the phone, right? Here's my phone number. You can just give me a call and I'll either connect you with somebody on my team or I'll give you a call back. You can email me the same thing or go to that website, avoyanetwork.com, put in your request. Don't let this moment in history pass you by. If you wanted to be part of the travel industry, now is the time, and do something about it. Engage, and who knows what will happen. Maybe you'll be one of the great independent agencies that we get to feature on a future episode of On Deck with Avoya. Big thank you to our friends, Nick Renoux, Director of Content, to Annabella from Trade Marketing for doing a wonderful job in producing our show. To you, thank you for being part of On Deck with Avoya on a weekly basis. Until next Thursday, take care, everyone.